featuring Professor Ken and Reek in the Lion's Den.
We got to conversate about the motherland. What goes on in the motherland with our brothers that done did something with their revenue in a different original land?
Well, we always talk about we ain't got no little Italy, we ain't got no little Cuba, we ain't got no little Mexico, we ain't got no little Jewtown, but because of the president of Africa, Brother Nana, the president, of Africa, we are now able to do what they call the year of the return. The year of return symbolized the 400 years anniversary of us, since we went into the transatlantic slave trade from the Cape Coast dungeons and over there in Ghana. So basically, a lot of Africans have reached out to the diaspora, us, and asked us to come home. The president of Ghana belief is that it don't make a difference where in the world you is. If you're black, you're African. Whether you're in the Caribbean, whether you're in Puerto Rico, whether you're in Jamaica, whether you're in the Americas, or wherever, you African. So, African is one of the leading developed countries over there across the Atlantic. Right. A lot of companies been investing in Africa. A lot of people see the potential of Africa. And one person in particular is our brother, Akon. Akon got an initiative called Lighting Africa Up. And since he started this initiative about 7-8 years ago, he done brought solar panel. Using solar panel. He brought lights, electricity. He electrified over 2 million homes in Africa. He's also started what you call Akon City, which is basically, we cover that dealing with blockchain and cryptology and cryptocurrency. Basically, he gonna have his own coin, which is a universal coin, where all Africans use this coin and they'll be able to exchange goods and service. Right now in Africa, the biggest business is the mobile business, because a lot of mobile phones, company makes a lot of money, because that is basically, how people in Africa do everything. They email, they take pictures, selfies, everything. They use everything with their cell phone. Also, in most parts of Africa, what the value is? What? Cell phone minutes. Cell phone minutes. If you got 100 million cell phone minutes, you consider a millionaire over there. Because that's how they trade goods and service. You can go to the local store, you give somebody 5-10 minutes of cell phone minutes, $10 worth of cell phone minutes, you can probably get you $10 worth of groceries. But what Akon was saying is that he wanted to take that system of cell phone minutes and buy all the cell phone minutes and put everybody on the Acorn, the Acorn currency. Right. So basically, so what he's been doing, he's been lighting Africa. So a lot of people say, well, how did he get the money? Well, China is investing a lot of money in Africa. China put billions of dollars in Africa. So Akon went over to the panel company in Africa, and they gave him $1 billion credit. They gave him $1 billion worth of credit. So now Akon is a billionaire, because he electrified over 200 million homes throughout the diaspora of Africa, throughout the entire African continent. All of those villages where people didn't have electricity, he electrified those entire villages. So that means that people can stay up later, they can do business longer, they don't have to worry about going down dark dirt roads. They got lighting, they got lights, electricity throughout that whole system. Right. And so he's been going to the UN and going to different business conventions and talking to hedge fund investors, talking to people who venture capitalists, and he getting them to invest in Africa. You know, and he's in Senegal. You know, that's in Senegal, and the government of Senegal just gave him a proclamation or gifted him 2,000 acres of land so he can now build the Akon city. They started in March. They expected to be, the first phase of it to be done in 10 years, and then 10 years after that, it'll be totally completed. It's going to be state-of-the-art, everything digital, no currency, everything is ran by cell phone and by remote control. It's going to be awesome. It's a nice project that Akon got going on. You know, so I commend Akon for that. And then also the president of Ghana, he's allowing African Americans to come back. And I don't know if you know Brother Nana Kwame. You can, if you type in his name, Nana Kwame and Floyd Mayweather, he's a billionaire from Africa.
Okay.
And he started from small beginnings. He started off, he left Africa. When he was in Africa, he sold eggs and chicken. His mama, they had like a poultry, dealing with poultry. You know what I'm saying? Then they went over to England. While he was in England, he eventually started a scrap business. Then eventually started a telecommunication business. Then he became a multimillionaire. Now he built over 200, listen to what I'm saying, 200 structures. I'm talking about skyscrapers and subdivisions in Africa. And so he's been telling all the brothers and sisters, you know, you can just check him up on the internet. He's Floyd Mayweather partner. You know, he's a flashy dude. You know, he wear the Gucci and, you know, he got the Rolls Royces, and he's the African version of Floyd Mayweather. He called himself the African Prince. But what the government is doing is that they're going over to China, and they're going over to America. They're going to different countries, and they're inviting not only African Americans, but they're inviting other people to come in and invest in Africa. Right. Because they said that Africa still have 30% of the earth minerals that haven't been used yet. Everything that people use is in Africa. Say, for example, you know, in Ghana have the cocoa bean. The cocoa bean is what they use to make chocolate. But what he was saying was that they covered it by the bean, and then they develop the chocolate in either Europe or America. What he's saying is that they're going to have a full manufacturer, and he invited African Americans to go over to Africa. They're going to build the process. They're going to do the entire process right there in Africa. Then they can upscale their business, because right now, on the annual, they get about $7 billion. But this is a $100 billion industry. So they're losing almost 93% of the market share. So he said that the oil, they usually sell the crude. They don't sell the refined aspect of the oil. So he said that he want African Americans and people that's skilled in engineering and skilled in certain fields of endeavors to come over there, and they'll be able to invest in Africa, you know, and we can start the processing. We can start manufacturing things in Africa. You know, that way, Africa will be the next developing country. Because if you go to St. Jean in China, you can see that China had built this city that was a rural area in 30 years. In one generation, they built an entire city that looks exactly like Manhattan. They have 11 million Chinese in this one city. The whole city is digital. Facial recognition. They use two forms of pay systems. They use Alipay, which is from Alibaba, and they use WeChat, which we all got WeChat. You can actually pay for your goods and service right there in the market with WeChat and Alipay. So basically what he's saying is that he want to mimic that in Africa. But in order to mimic it in Africa, just like Chinese went to America and got Chinese Americans to come back and use their expertise, the president of Ghana, he want us to come to Ghana and to Nigeria and to all the other developing countries that's over there that's modernizing and use our expertise over there. So shout out to Brother Akon. Shout out to the president of Ghana, because what we got to understand is that once we begin to industrialize Africa, which means that once we start, bringing Home Depots and different businesses like that over there, then those people don't have to ship those goods from America. We can open up. We got the skills. We know how. We go into Home Depot. We know what these business entails. We can go and set up those business or set up any business where we have manufacture where they don't have to order. We can set up glass factories. We can set up door factories. We can set up window factories, so they don't have to go all the way to America or to Europe to get these products. And they welcome us over there because they know we got the expertise and we got the know-how.
Right.
Because what the president believed, he believed that once we come to Africa, then we're not going to complain no more. We always talk about, man, I don't like it over here, man. Jim Crowism, racism. Well, go to Africa. You go to Africa, you ain't going to be a nigger. You're going to be just another African.
Right.
Because just like they let the Chinese over there, and just like the Chinese gave Akon $1 billion and they invested in Africa's future, you also can invest in Africa's future. So once we understand that these are our brothers, and we reach across the aisle, and we go over there, and we set up corporations and businesses, because I'll tell you, man, in 2 or 3 years, man, I'm going to take me about $4-5 million over there, Reek, and I'm just going to invest in anything that I feel that they may need. Wherever I find a need, I'm just going to invest in over there. And, I might even invest in some of the construction companies. I might invest in some of the oil companies. Because this is a developing country. We missed all the other revolutions. People who look at Google and look at Facebook, when them companies first started off, they were just upstarts. People didn't think they were going to do nothing.
Right.
Now look at these companies. These companies are $1 trillion companies. So if we don't invest in Africa, we don't go to Africa, we're going to miss the boat. This is the 4th Industrial Revolution. We talked about that. The on-ramp. We got to get on. I mean, Steve Harvey is investing over there. I think I seen T.I. over there investing. I know I seen Floyd Mayweather. He kicks it with the guy that's the biggest developer over there, Nana Kwame. So it's a lot of the richest. One of the richest men in the world is a dude from England that went over to get educated in England. He went back and they told him, they said, well, no oil in the ocean. He said, let me try. So normally the traditional way, you got to get these big old oil machines, these big old things that drill oil, they drill in the ground and you just keep drilling till you find oil. This brother here was very ingenious. He went and used the same technology that they use for colonoscopy to stick a camera up in your butt, and he put the camera in the drill. So when he put the camera in the drill, it wasn't as, they didn't have to use the big powerful drill. They just had a boat. And they went down there, and when they got to a certain level, they seen that it was oil in there. This guy here, now he's drilling almost 1 billion barrels a year. He's a multi-billionaire. And he was one of the brothers that they told him to come back. Nana Kwame, he grew up in England. He came back to Africa. He's a billionaire. He got 200 structures. Akon, he went back to Africa. He was inspired because his grandmama was living in the village and she didn't have no running water. She didn't have no electricity. So he, in buying a solar panel for his grandmama, he seen the need to, so it's conscious capitalism. It's philanthropy, but it's philanthropy for profit. But at the same time, he giving these people electricity for a small fee. They only pay $5 a month.
Right.
So what I'm saying, man, is we need to go back to Africa. We're from Africa. And once you go to Africa, they give you a whole tour. They show you the slave castles. They tell you what happened. They used to call the castles, when you leave out that door, it's called the door of no return. Once you left out there, you sail to Americas. It was a rap.com. And the first slaves that ever sailed out of Africa in 1619 came from where? Ghana. You know, they show you the whole slave trail. So they just try to show brothers that, man, we reaching out. You know, we want you brothers to come over here. We want you to use the education and the know-how. You know, like they respect what we did. They respect that we came all the way from slavery to having an African-American president. They expect that we came all the way from slavery to having one of the #1 genres of music, hip-hop.
Right.
How, you know, they admire us. They admire our ingenuity. They admire our intelligence. You know, look how many billionaires and millionaires we done made from nothing. Man, that's just not typical for an ex-slave to, you know, eventually get enough power where he can rule his slave master. You know, Obama, if he pushed the button, he could have all us killed. He was the commanding chief of this country. You know, that's why they respect us. Obama went to Ghana. That was one of the first countries he went to. You know, and he told them, man, he said, listen, man, y'all got to have democratic government. Y'all got to practice democracy. Y'all got to have term limits. He said, you guys got to build up Africa. Quit giving people your minerals, you know what I'm saying, because they come with a Bible, and, you know, y'all get the Bible, they get the minerals. He said, no, when they come over, you let them know, look, we're going to do business, but it's not business as usual. So the Africans that woke up, they realized that is the richest continent in the world, that all of the minerals, even the things that we use for our cell phones, come from Africa.
Right.
So we got to go back home, man. We got to go and support our brothers and sisters over there, man. If anybody listening, I'm telling y'all, man, that it's some of the most beautiful homes. They driving Rolls Royces, they driving Bentleys, they driving Maseratis, Benzes, everything. They got big old pretty homes. They got the $20,000 chandeliers, mansions. Man, it's going down in Africa. The depiction that we get, the Tarzan and the monkeys and the swinging from the trees, that is not the right depiction of Africa.
Right.
And I'm telling you, man, if you ever go to Nigeria, those are some of the flyest dressing brothers in the world. I mean, they are fly as a falcon, man. You know, we just have to get out and go because it's a lot of development in Africa, and they need our expertise, you know. And it's a lot of influences in our community, in particular, you know, in the hip-hop community and the entertainment world. You know, like, I mean, no disrespect to Jay-Z, but still invested in Uber, he should invest in solar panel. Because look what it did for Akon.
Yeah.
Now Akon got more money than everybody. You know, and, you know, Akon, you know, he grew up in America. He grew up in America, but he was born in Senegal. But still, you know, we can go over there and do the same thing.
Right.
You know, I mean, those are stabilized governments now. It's not like it used to be. You know, yeah, it was a lot of corruption, you know, in Africa, but now, you know what I'm saying, the African leaders understand that the only way you can sustain an economy is you bring the people up. You know, you allow competition and profit. You know, you allow free trade. You know, you allow people to move about freely. You know, that you respect your opposition parties. And then we all can come up. Because now, you know, we breathe in intelligence and excellence. You know, and that's one thing that, you know, I just wanted to say about Africa, man. I just wanted to let everybody know they need to go check out Ghana, the year of return. They need to check out the Nana Kwame. They need to go over and check out Akon and what he's doing with Lighting Africa. And they need to just type in Africa. Just see all the wonderful things that's going on.
Before you wrap it up, it's another one they needed. A few more things they need to check out. They need to check out your books too, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. They need to check out The Art of Human Chess. They need to check out the 40 Laws of Game. I give up a lot of principles on how to maneuver. You know, I try to tell people all the time, man. Listen, you know, life is a process. You got to learn how to maneuver. You got to learn how to plot. You got to learn how to strategize. You got to have patience. I mean, it's very characteristics. It's several characteristics. You got to be persistent. You got to be confident. You got to take the initiative. You can't be no quitter. You got to have goals. You got to write your goals down. You got to read your goals. In my book, I talk about all of those things. I show people who really want to be successful how to be successful. A lot of people always ask me, how did I do it? And I always tell them, man, read the book. Because if you read the books, and if you study my books, I give you a clear blueprint on how to do it. And I give you the language, and I give you other books to read that help me along the way. So I'm not just being selfish. I'm not hauling game. I'm not trying to keep all the game to myself. I'm giving it to you. You know, it's cheap. You know, if you go and you get the audio book, it's talking about $14. You go to audiobook.com, $14, you can get the book, or you can get the other book for cheaper than that. Right.
Or say this, you could do someone a service. Since we got all this downtime and people were saying, what should I read? You could give somebody the book.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Definitely, you know, you can order the book on Amazon.com or Lulu.com, and that'll be a good thing. Because really, man, seriously, man, we need to learn financial literacy. We need to start practicing economic empowerment. You know, we need to understand politics. We need to understand media. We need to understand strategy, because we can't do it. You know, the traditional way, you know, selling drugs, you know, robbing, you know, all those little things, man, those ain't nothing but traps of the enemy, man. You know, look at these brothers in prison dying right now because they can't get out. And corona is spreading throughout the penitentiary system. And these guys, you know, they steadily complain about, you know, they catching COVID-19. But see, that's why you don't want to commit a crime, because it's set up to lock you up. The 13th Amendment is real. You know, when they say slavery is abolished except for one duly commits a crime, they are serious about that. These folks is not playing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm trying to teach y'all, man, you know, listen, if you can't get no respect in America, go to Africa. You know, go somewhere where people look like you. When you go into an expensive hotel, they ain't trying to check you out and see if you trying to steal something, you know. I mean, go where we respected at, man. You know, we got a home. Africa's our home, man. I'm telling you, it's sweet over in Africa. You know, it's sweet over there. They got beautiful homes. They got beautiful hotels. Man, just go over there and look at, type in Cardi B, the year return. You're going to see them come pick up in Bentleys and Rolls Royces. I mean, them folks ain't playing, man. Them folks living in mansions. I'm talking about $1 million homes. You know, the depiction that we've been given is not the real depiction. And, you know, there was corruption. There is corruption, but they got a good president in Ghana now. When he took over, the GDP was like 3%. It's below 3%. Now it's like 8%, and it's been growing for the last 4 years. So the growth in the GDP is really great over there. You know, I mean, a lot of people is doing businesses. Tourism is at its all-time high. You know, people come in from all over the world, Detroit, Chicago. I mean, it's like how we used to go to Cancun and how we used to go to Miami and Hawaii. They going to Africa like that now. So let's get up there, man. Let's all meet there and let's leave all this racism and this destruction and corruption and all, man. Because you hear what President Trump said yesterday. He said, I'm the boss. He said, I control everything. And every Republican and Democrat said, man, this man, he think he a king. So you got more, you know, you got more autocratic government and more monarchy going on in America than you do in Africa. People always say, man, they run a aristocracy. They run a monarchy. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to say, a monarchy. You know, but at the end of the day, you know, hey man, that's going on right here in America. You know, you got all this money, and me, you covered this before. Lil Wayne, he take $5 million to go buy a house in Miami. The neighbors complain. He paid cash for his house. The people that live around him, got 30 years mortgage. How the hell they gonna complain about a man that just paid for his house outright and you ain't paid for yours? Right. You can foreclose any minute. This man here, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he can't foreclose. He in there. He locked in, and you paying, and he locked in. But you telling him that you don't want him around. I mean, this is the type of discrimination. This is the type of Jim Crowism that we have in America. But in Africa, you know, if you go spend $5 million over there, some people are gonna be throwing a parade for you. You know, they're gonna bring out the pom-poms and the cake and the ice cream and like, welcome to the neighborhood. And guess what? Every day you walk out your house, you're gonna look at people that look just like you. That's gonna wave at you. They're gonna respect you for being a successful, accomplished individual. And you know, it's just, if you can afford it, and those who can't afford it, when you get some money, make that trip, man. Let's get out of here, man. I'm going to Africa, man. In 2 years, man, I'm out of here, man. I mean, I got business here, you know. I got to run my agency, you know what I mean? I got my book agency, you know what I'm saying? But in my film company, but I'm still going to be, you know, having me a second home over there. Right. You know, I'm going to go buy me a house, buy me a big old mansion over there. I'm investing in me probably a club, because, you know, that would probably be the ideal thing to open up there. Since I know so many celebrities, and I can get them to come in and probably, you know, sell a club out. Right. You know, just use my leverage for whatever I can over there. And I'm gonna invest in some of that oil and some of that gold. Gold is cheap over there. You know, you can buy the nugget. You know, and then you can have it. You can have a jeweler, you know, polish it. Right. And turn it into you know, marketable gold. I mean, it's just so many things that's going on over there, man. So many things that you can buy at a premium price that's way better than, you know, what we getting over here, and the respect level that you're gonna get. You know, I mean, if you're a king here, you're gonna be a triple king over there. You know, in the Morris Science Temple, we was taught that we are descendants of the northwestern shores and the northwestern shores of Africa. You know, which is, you know, put you in Ghana, you know, put you in Liberia, northwestern, southwestern shores of Africa. That's what the Honorable Noble Drew Ali taught us. You know, Marcus Garvey said, let's go back to Africa. This is nothing new. You know, W.E.B. Du Bois is born. I mean, W.E.B. Du Bois, you know, one of our great scholars, black scholars, who was you know, went to Harvard and everything, was a highly educated African-American man. You know, he went back to Ghana. He's buried in Ghana right now. Maya Angelou, you know, one of our great poets, you know, one of Oprah's best friends, she spent many, many years in Ghana. You know, Kwame Nkrumah, you know what I'm saying, who was one of the first, like, real authentic presidents of Ghana since, you know, colonialism. You know, because colonialism, a lot of people don't know that Africa within itself is not even African name. It comes from a guy by the name of Leo Africanus. Right. You know what I'm saying? So Kwame Nkrumah, he the first one that pushed the British out and told them, like, you know, we want our independence. So Ghana got a history of, you know, independence. Malcolm and all of them was cool. You know, I believe that you know, a lot of the black nationalist organization, you know, went to Ghana back then. You know, so Ghana have always been receptive to, you know, the brothers throughout the diasporas. They call us the diasporans. You know what I'm saying? Because basically, what people don't know is that Ghana was a major slave port. And if you go and you take a DNA test in Ghana, it's almost 80% chance that most of the African Americans who go and take their DNA and go back home, go back the return of Africa, they return to Africa, they're going to more than likely have some Ghanaian blood in them. They're going to be from Ghana, you know, because those are the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. That's the area where the slave port, matter of fact, they got a castle. Obama visited this castle, and it's a slave castle. And the castle is a big old white castle, and at the bottom of the castle is dungeons. That's where they kept the slaves until they were ready to go and get on the ship and go church. So while they were praying and worshiping Jesus, they was also enslaving our brothers and sisters. So when you go to Ghana, they give you this tour and they show you that. But another thing that we need to understand about Ghana is that the current president of Ghana, he invited us. He went in 2018, he went to the Caribbean, he went to Canada, he went to England, he went to America. He said, all my African brothers, all my black brothers, I don't care where you at. If you black, you African. Come back to Ghana. We welcome you back home. And so that's when the year of return started in 2018. And thousands and thousands of brothers and sisters from the Jamaicans, from the Caribbeans, from St. Thomas and St. Croix and the Bahamas and America went back to Africa. And what they did was they allowed a certain percentage of those brothers, based on their visa, to become nationalized citizens. So they got dual citizenship. So now they're a part of Africa. And that's what the president of Ghana is saying. Y'all come back, invest in Africa. We have minerals. We are the richest country on earth. Come back. Floyd Mayweather, Steve Harvey, T.I., Ludacris, Jamal Bryant, all of these brothers are going, Dr.BoyceWatkins, they're going into Africa and they're investing into Africa. So it's the year to return is not just about us going and, saying, we want to, trace our heritage, or we want to go check on our forefathers, or see from which we came, but it's also by going over to Africa and seeing what Africa have to, offer, Yandy, the lady who did Mona Scott, the lady who did Love and Hip Hop, the creator of Love and Hip Hop, all of them, they all been going over there because it's great investment opportunity. The brother I was talking about in one of our episodes, the brother Nana Kwame, this brother done built. He was raised in England. He went to school in England, but he went back to Africa. He built 186 buildings in Africa. He's one of the biggest developers in Africa. He's not even from Ghana. But the Ghanaian people are allowing us to come over there and use the knowledge and the wisdom and understanding that we got from being westernized and Europeanized and anglicized in America and in Europe and throughout the diaspora. So the talents that we have are very useful in Africa. So what the Ghanaian people are doing by saying come back, they say come back and invest, and did this so beautiful, Rick. Man, they got a hotel called Kissimmee over there, man. They got that hotel, got a gallery, and they got Versace store. And, the first thing the president got to say, man, we are not swinging from trees over here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They got Taylors, they got Rolls Royces, they got Mantis, they got everything.
Yeah,
but the picture that we get in America is always that, they monkeys and they uncivilized and they savage. Right. And that's not true. And then there's another brother, he was also educated in the United States. He went to the University of Virginia. He went back to Africa. He went to Ghana. I'm just trying to give brothers an example of how beautiful it is over there and how the opportunities that are developed. He went back to Ghana. He went to Ghana and he decided to get into oil fields. So they said, you know what? Every oil, petroleum, BP, Standard Oil, all these oil companies told him that there was no oil in Ghana. That he would be wasting his money, he would be wasting his investor money. They even called some of the investors, told him, say, man, do not invest with this guy, you guys wasting your money. But what this guy did, he used the technology that they use for colonoscopy. When they, sometimes they take a camera and they take it and they put it in your rectum, right, and they can see if you got cancer in there, right? Mm-hmm. So what he did, he had a ship that was totally technological and totally computerized in order to send cameras down into the earth and under the water, because they was offshore drilling. They drill off and get past all of the the livestock and all that stuff that's in the thing, all of the, the rocks and stuff, stuff that be at the bottom of the ocean, and go straight to where, you can see if it's oil. And he stuck it in there, and they found out that was oil, and then he came back with the ships that drill the oils. Guess what? He found 3 billion barrels of oil and 3 billion barrels of gas. Forbes just labeled him as one of the richest men in Ghana. So, and this brother was educated in the United States. So that's what the Ghanaians is saying. They said, come on back. And your return is not just come on back and be subservient or to be, just spectators. Come on back and get some money, man. They got some of the most luxurious 5-star hotels in Ghana. Like I said, man, in the last 10 years, they built 186 structures. Brother Nana Kwame, he built 186, all contemporary, completely furnished. I mean, all type of gadgets, computerized. Because what they saying, what the brothers saying, man, if they can go and they can take a desert and build a lake in the desert, because that's what they did in Dubai. They built an entire lake, because you need water to, water got a lot of, that's what dams do. They bring energy, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can use it. Water is a very powerful source. So, but they got water. They right there at the Atlantic Ocean. We don't even need to bring the water. We got the water. We got the resources right there in Africa, but they had to bring the water over to Dubai to make Dubai, a functional city.
Right.
We got all of that in Africa already. We got the water. So what the brother said, if they can build that in 20, 30 years, if Singapore can build a city that's damn near basically all computerized, you can't even, in some parts of Singapore, you got to use facial recognition to even go. So they got unmanned stores in Singapore. Meaning that you can walk in there and you can just with your face, you can buy soda and groceries. They totally technological. So what the brothers are saying, like, man, they're going to build a small Silicon Valley. All of the brothers and sisters that's educated in America, we can come over there and they got hip hop clubs, they got 5-star restaurants. And I urge every brother that's listening and sister, eventually take that trip over to Africa. The first time I was invited to Africa was by the president from the Republic of Gambia. He invited me, Maggie Johnson, and Spud Webb. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it. That was the first time I was invited, and he paid completely for the trip. Matter of fact, I was able to, after I missed the trip, the trip cost, several thousand. I was able to get the money back from the airline, because I didn't make the trip.
Right.
But I'm going. I'm going soon. I'm going over there. I'm thinking about taking, my money and investing in Ghana, because, I want to be a part of that, man. These are our ancestors. These are our brothers, and it's just like, when you have a baby by a female, first thing they do is they take you to child support. They give you a paternity test, right? And establish, fatherhood, right?
Right.
Well, when you go over there, they give you a DNA test and then establish brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? Sisterhood. So we all brothers and sisters. We all one family. And the brothers are saying, come back home. We need y'all. We know y'all know the system. We see y'all controlling the market through hip hop. We see y'all who were former slaves who at one time, couldn't even walk on the same side of the street as a white person. They couldn't even drink out the same restaurant as a white person. We see y'all selling out coliseums and white folks selling out stadiums and white folks coming and worshiping and throwing phones up and taking pictures and falling out because they see you. Y'all were slaves. There's no history of no other people have done what we doing, Reek. No, I I mean, where do you know where a former slave is now selling out stadiums, and white people who at one time was calling you niggas and telling that you couldn't walk on the stage, now they falling out and can't wait to touch you. Just dying to get a glimpse of you.
Right.
So they said, in what country do you know where a former slave, or people that was a former slave, where the former slave end up controlling the entire country? Barack Obama. They understand and recognize our genius. They know that they need us. They know that we got it. Brothers in America, we understand it. You know, Steve Harvey is everywhere. Jay-Z is everywhere. P. Diddy is everywhere. 50 is everywhere. 50 just did some stuff with CBS. You know, he did something with Stars. You know, there's people with Harvard degree can't do what 50 did. They still working in the back office. 50 didn't got an imprint. So we have the skills, we have the talent. Look at Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather and brother Nana Kwame are buddies. You can see, just type up Nana Kwame and Floyd Mayweather. You can see them. He at Floyd Mayweather house. This is the dude that I told you that built the 186 structures. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Floyd Mayweather did something that nobody else was able to do. The first time in history, you know what I'm saying, Floyd Mayweather, he's the first fighter and promoter simultaneously. You know what I'm saying? When he get the majority of his purse. You know, for years, you know, the mob and, you know, the Jews, you know, they was controlling boxing. Right. And that's what these brothers understand about us. You know what I'm saying? They understand that we know how to do it. They understand that we got the game. They want us to return back to Africa so we can teach them and they can give us the minerals and the land and the other things, give us access, you know, to these things and let us develop them. You know, let us enhance and let us, you know, build Africa as one African people. As one African people. As one African people.
This is my book, The Art of Human Chess. It's a bestseller, New York best time seller. This book here sold millions, sold all over the world, all throughout the prison system. This is the book, The 48 Laws of Game PhARAOHS. Make sure you get these books. If you don't want to buy the hardcover, if you don't want to buy the paperback, then the best thing to do is go to iTunes on your cell phone and type in my name, Pimpin' Ken, and I guarantee you the book will pop up. If they don't work, go to audible.com, type in my name. If they don't work, go to amazon.com, type in my name. Anywhere books is sold all over the country, you can get my books. These are my bestseller books. You hear people talk about them all the time on Instagram, on Snapchat. These are definitely some good reads. Please get my book. I guarantee you that you will never be the same. Your life will be impacted, and also your life will be enhanced just by getting these two books, The Art of Human Chess and The 48 Laws of Game. Just like the 48 Laws of Power, just like the Art of War.
Too cool to count 24/7.